SEMICON West started in 1971 as the brainchild of Fred Kulik and William Hugel at the San Mateo Fairgrounds. It moved to the Moscone Center in San Francisco in 1992 and reached its zenith in 1999 when the show became so big they divided it between front end at the Moscone Center and back end packaging down at the San Jose Convention Center.
Last year, it moved for 1 year to Phoenix, Arizona. Here to discuss the future of this iconic event is Joe Stockunas, president of SEMI Americas.
And welcome, Joe. Thank you for joining us today. I believe you're at the Materials Conference today somewhere. So thank you for coming in. I want to just start
off. Trevor, if I may, just a big thank you to you and Jillian. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And SEMI really appreciates the support you provide to us. It's been something we can count on an ongoing basis, and it's much appreciated. Thank you.
Great. Well, we equally enjoy the support of SEMI. It's a very important organization to the industry, and you do an awful lot for the industry. So, believe you me, it's mutual. So we're going to talk today specifically about SEMICON West. We noticed that SEMICON West is taking place this year in San Francisco in October. This caught our attention because usually, except for last year, this event was held in July. So is SEMICON West going to be held in October for the foreseeable future?
It will be held in October this year. And next year, we've got some surprises we're working on. So I'll share with you a bit ahead of our announcement. Right now, we'll have an announcement at the end of this month. But we'll be moving the event to April, and it will be permanent in April. We'll also be in San Francisco this year in October, as you've mentioned, but we'll be in April in Phoenix, and we'll be in Phoenix for the next 3 years. We've committed to that. The reason for this is something that is really important to the overall semi community globally. We currently have 8 semicons around the world, and it's incredible the support we have for our semicons now. Last year, SEMICON West moving to Phoenix, we saw a 50% increase in attendance, which was not a surprise to me. It was planned, our move to Phoenix. We're seeing a huge amount of investment, over $200 billion of investment going into Phoenix. And with that, we'll see growth of semiconductor employment on the order of about 60,000 jobs created in the semiconductor industry over the next 5 years in Phoenix. So it makes sense for us to be in Phoenix where all that investment's happening. Now, the move to April next year is to balance things. This year, we'll have 5 semicons and a holiday season between September and the end of the year. And the feedback we've had from our members and our member leadership is that this is too much. So US, we have the most flexibility on both schedule and location. So we were able to work something out. And this year will be in October in San Francisco, and next year we'll be in Phoenix in April. And the intention is to be in April going forward from there. The move out of July, it's kind of an IQ test. You don't have events with large numbers of thousands and thousands of people in Phoenix in the middle of summer. So that really necessitated the move for us. And then again, balancing the schedule of semicons around the globe from a regional perspective is the driver for our move to April for next year. So that's happening, and you're the first to know, Trevor. We're going to get that announcement publicly in the next couple of weeks.
Well, that certainly makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? The April timeframe. The weather's better in Phoenix, and and as you say, it works in better with the global calendar for semi events. Jillian,
it's going to be great. The weather's perfect in April. No one's going to want to leave. It'll be a wonderful time. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's July right now. I'm here in Phoenix. It's a little hot, just a little, like 115 degrees maybe. But thanks for the background. We're really excited to be the first to hear about that super exciting announcement. So with this year being the last year in San Francisco, at least for the next 3 years, what's new at this year's event that maybe we didn't see in previous years? What can people look forward to?
So we're really excited at SEMI that the growth in our industry has just been phenomenal. Ajit Minocha, our CEO, he made a prediction in 2017 that our industry would grow to be $1 trillion in 2030. And it created a lot of fun. We had we have lots of market analysts who follow our industry. And for the last several years, it's been really fun to watch. Folks were saying we're not going to get there by 2030. Even Ajit wavered a little bit, saying, well, maybe it won't be 2030, maybe it'll be 31 or 32, but it's going to happen. And lo and behold, it's happening this year in 2026. So it's just incredible growth. So first of all, what's going to be new is we're going to celebrate the $1 trillion revenue number for semiconductor. And to put that in perspective for you, we had $400 billion in global semiconductor revenue for the first time in 2019. So in roughly a 6-year period, we're going to see growth of more than threefold. So right now, most of the estimates are that this year's revenue will come in between 1.2 trillion and 1.5 trillion, and we're going to blow that $1 trillion away. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to celebrate. We're going to recognize that $1 trillion achievement, and from there we've got a number of other things that blend in with what's new and exciting. We're seeing transition in technology very clearly right now, a whole lot more focus on advanced packaging. And with that, we've had packaging at our show for the last few years, and it's featured globally at the SEMICONs around the world. But this year we'll have 3 full days of programming on advanced packaging. We will also look to the theme for the show this year is transforming tomorrow. So what's next after $1 trillion? And we'll focus on future of computing, which will be what's next for our industry, what's next both from a market perspective and a technology perspective. And we'll focus on things like quantum computing, for example, having a very prevalent position at SEMICON West this year. Also, you'll see what's new this year is for many years, SEMI's focused on the manufacturing portion of semiconductor industry. But this year, we're going to be much more prominent positioned in the design community as well. So the design community is part of SEMI. They've been part of SEMI for quite some time. The Electronics Systems Design Alliance is where the design community resides, and that's a community within SEMI. And we'll have a full day of I'm very excited. We've got a great lineup of speakers and topics looking at how design is such a critical part of the advancement of our industry. And then also it's one of the places where we'll really be able to feature how AI is impacting in the semiconductor industry itself, how we use AI tools to enhance innovation, and design is at the forefront of that. So really excited to have a full day of design as well. And that'll be our first day. That'll be on Tuesday as well. We will also, one of the things I wanted to point out is that SEMICON has been traditionally 3 days, but things are just so hot in our industry, it's evolved to be SEMICON week, and there's a whole lot more going on across the week. So we will have our market symposium on Monday where, folks get really excited about this to learn more about just how big will that number be, what will that number be in the global revenue for semiconductors, but then also the impact through as we peel the onion back and look at the entire supply chain and what growth opportunities and what issues are in front of us. A lot of that gets started on Monday. The show kicks off on Tuesday, and on Monday we'll have our market symposium. But then we've got some really exciting things. IMEC puts a great deal of effort into. On Monday, they will have an adjacent event, adjacent to SEMICON West, and where they're coming in and showing off their efforts on roadmap and innovation, and it's mind-blowing. They're a key partner of ours, and really excited to have them at SEMICON West and showing off their wares and the direction for the industry. It's really helpful to us. Also very pleased to see that Applied Materials will have their ribbon cutting session for their EPIC Center in the Valley. And that's going to happen on Monday as well. So a lot going on. It really becomes, it's just ongoing through the whole week. We'll have events, really gets underway on Sunday. And it really has become SEMICON week. The last thing I'll mention along that line is one of the things SEMI's offering that's become very efficient and attractive is SEMI has an offering now called SEMIU. And it is just what it sounds like. It's a training platform. And it makes an awful lot of sense for SEMI to be involved in training. Why should lots of companies need to have training portfolio? There's no reason for all of our different member companies to develop their own training programs. Doing it in a consolidated way through SEMI is a way to really leverage a collective benefit for our industry. And on Mondays, we'll have a full day of training sessions, and we get great turnout for that. We did it last year, and it'll be much bigger this year and a key part of the agenda for the week. So awful lot going on, and really excited about our agenda for the week.
Absolutely. Well, as you said, Joe, I mean, this industry is just expanding in so many different directions, both by application, by technology, and in so many different ways. And it's hitting these goals earlier than we anticipated. One of the areas that is coming to the front in the advanced packaging side is co-packaged optics and photonics. They're making a bigger inroads into microelectronics packaging. So do you see SEMICON West making photonics a larger segment of the conference and exhibition in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, Trevor. That will be very much part of the agenda. In both the sessions I covered is the areas of new and focus. To advanced packaging, 3 days of programming. So there'll be plenty to talk about on photonics and where it's going. Same way on future computing. The connection in AI between the processing chips and the memory and the connectivity that's required is really prime opportunity for photonics, where you'll see an electrical signal converted to a light signal. And with that, we're very focused on, you'll hear, our efforts within the semiconductor industry on how we will help reduce the power demand necessary for AI compute. And again, that photonics opportunity is a key platform in that space. So it is built in to the agenda today, and I expect it to continue for many years to come. So we're really at the start of that. Really exciting to see some of the investments. Last month, I had the privilege of attending the groundbreaking session for Coherent's expanded indium phosphide facility in Sherman, Texas. It's a good example of it's real and it's here. And then again, you'll see a whole lot of focus on at SEMICON West and at our SEMICONs around the world. Our Taiwan team, likewise, has a very strong effort in photonics.
Yeah, Coherent's another company with some amazing technologies out there, well beyond the laser side. Gillian?
Yeah, and kind of along those same lines, with how fast this industry is growing, I know that SEMI has a pretty strong focus on workforce development as well, because we need people to staff all these facilities that are coming out. Like, we see facilities announcements a couple times a week at this point. It's wild. So with that in mind, is there anything on the workforce development side at SEMICON West that you'd like to highlight?
It's the largest pavilion we have on the show floor. So our workforce development pavilion is a beehive. It just doesn't let up. Again, we'll have 3 full days of programming on workforce development. It's there's opportunities for personal interaction for folks to learn about our industry, but then also a number of our member companies will have kiosks on the workforce development pavilion, and they actually have recruiters there to recruit people. You will see it featured on our keynote stage. The CEO Summit will be each day in the morning from about 8:30 to 10:30. And SEMI has been recently, well, actually a year ago now, we were selected to operate the National Network for Microelectronics Education in the United States. And we will have a fireside chat on the keynote stage on Thursday with Sherry Liss, who leads our workforce development effort at SEMI on a global basis, and with folks who work in the National Science Foundation in the U.S. government, who's funding the National Network for Microelectronics Education. Really exciting things going there. We have announced our first 4 nodes to create a regional program for workforce development, and those nodes are in New York, in Arizona, in Texas, and in Idaho. And no coincidence, that there's also large semiconductor investments happening in those 4 areas. So it makes sense for us to have them there as the first 4 sites. So again, it will be a very individual opportunity, but then you'll also be able to experience the big picture on workforce development in the U.S. our member companies, I spend a lot of time speaking with members. That's what I'm doing at the Strategic Materials Conference this week. And the number one issue for our members, when I ask them, hey, the growth opportunities are so substantial, what potentially limits your growth? The number one answer we receive here in the Americas is workforce development. We need the talent. So very substantial effort, and it's a great example of how SEMI really tries to focus on what our members' needs are and where we can provide a collective benefit, where it makes sense for us as an industry to work together and pool our resources to have the most efficient position on solving those issues. So workforce is a real strong opportunity there for us, and we're very proud of what we've done in workforce.
Yeah, it's a critical area. So looking at the huge number of presentations you've got this week, I mean, what are some of the other main keynotes and presentations you think that attendees are most excited about?
Yeah, we will have over 60 different sessions, presentations throughout. So we'll have a great show floor. By the way, I'm really pleased to say our show floor is sold out again this year. Was sold out last year in Phoenix, and honestly, I was a bit concerned. We had such a tremendous, 50% growth in attendance and 42% growth in exhibitors last year in Phoenix. I wasn't as confident, but it's come through. We've had, again, we'll have over 1,500 booths on the show floor. The show floor sold out, and equivalent in size last year, we had 1,500 booths in Phoenix. So it's really tremendous. The attendance we're seeing is also, registrations are looking really good right now. Registrations and hotel room bookings are up over last year, which is interesting to me. And we compare it to our last time in San Francisco, we're up over 84% in hotel room bookings. So we're going to have a good turnout for the show. And we'll have that show floor where folks will have a great opportunity to network and interface and see the latest and greatest in the wares of our suppliers. But above the show floor, we'll have 60 different sessions on technology, markets, a variety of industry needs and opportunities. And last year we had 585 speakers in those 3.5 days, and it will be very similar in size to what we had last year. We have a great CEO Summit set up each day. We'll start off with our CEO Summit from 8:30 to 10:30, not to conflict a whole lot with the balance of the programming and the show floor opportunities, but the CEO Summit will, again, on Wednesday, it's going to be a really interesting day for us. That's where we'll really focus on transitioning to tomorrow and look at what's next. So you'll see presentations on AI, you'll see presentations on physical robotics on Wednesday. You will, throughout the 3 days, we'll have great presentations and engagement on where things are from fab development perspective, where the fabs are being built, what the schedule looks like. Memory is such a big part of what's going on in the industry right now with the memory growth and the shortage of memory chips that are currently quite the front page news almost every day these days. So we'll have sessions like that on the keynote stage. We'll have presentations on advanced packaging and also design, and then of course a panel that is very much, it'll be led by Dave Anderson, who is the CEO of New York Creates, one of the strongest innovation facilities in the country. And he will have an all-star panel and talking about, what's next in the industry. We've got to that $1 trillion. What can we see next? We'll have also a presentation on quantum and the actual building of the semiconductors that are required for quantum computing. So really excited about the things that are happening on the show floor and in the presentations that'll be held. And it is literally, with 60 different sessions, it represents the more than 20 different communities within SEMI that makes up our industry from a market perspective or a technology or a supply chain component. And there'll be something for everyone across the 3.5 days of content that will be provided at the show.
Okay.
And with so much going on at this year's conference and with the exhibit hall already being sold out, about how many attendees are we expecting for this year?
So expecting that will be slightly bigger than last year. Last year we had 37,300, which was up from 24,000 the year before in San Francisco in 24. So I'm looking to be somewhere between 37 and 40,000 this year.
Right. Okay. So SEMICON West has been around obviously for more than 50 years, and as you probably heard in my introduction today, it's got quite a history. So what is the testament to its success, and how has this event changed over the years?
So we evolve with the industry, Trevor, and again, we're very much staying on top of the innovation that drives our industry. So that's really, and for that innovation to happen, people need to come together, connect, and collaborate. And that's the heart of our mission. We bring the industry together. We create an opportunity for partnerships to develop. And I've been doing this for a long time. My first SEMICON West was at the fairgrounds. It was the last year there was my first year. That was in the 80s. And I've been coming pretty much, I haven't made every year, but most years since. So a very long tradition, but that bringing everyone together collectively. And what we have at West in particular is it's the headquarters show. And it is the mover and shaker show. We really do get the senior executives, the folks who make a difference in the industry. They all come to SEMICON West. So it's beyond the Americas show. It is the Americas show, but we get a great international presence. We have about 40% of our attendees will come from outside the United States. And again, it really is the industry leadership's biggest event of the year anywhere in the world. And folks recognize coming to the U.S. for that. So it's evolved to that. And I do want to mention, one of the things, so we've had a great show floor for the last few years. We've got tremendous content for folks to keep them busy. The other focus I've had is just trying to bring some celebration into SEMICON West. And there's a few things we're doing along that line. Last year we had our first gala, and we also had our first party in the street. We had a street fair, and we'll have that street fair again this year. We're going to call it West Fest, so it's be in October, so it'll be kind of like the Oktoberfest in Germany, of course. So that's the theme for it, and it really, there's a lot of things that happen adjacent to the show. A lot of our companies host hospitality, and they're wonderful, but the West Fest really provides an opportunity for everyone from the show to come together and to celebrate. In addition, you mentioned Fred Kulik at a start, and we will be recognizing a few of our longstanding members who have the KNS. They're celebrating their 75th year in existence, and we will recognize them on the stage. And we'll also, Cadence in the design community is celebrating their 40th anniversary of being in business this year, and we'll recognize them on the stage as well. So, and what's really interesting is we've got a special award for KNS I'm really excited about, and it really just shows the longevity of, so KNS you'll see some special recognition for KNS. And what's amazing is they were a technical leader in the 70s, and still we'll recognize technical leadership by KNS this year at SEMICON West in addition to their 75th anniversary. So again, a very strong effort to focus on celebration. The last thing, we will recognize the future, and we'll have a celebration of 20 under 30, which is recognizing the folks who are coming up through the ranks in our industry and really are the future of our industry. A lot of us look like you and I, Trevor, and have been doing this for 40 years, and we need that continuity to continue. So there'll be recognition for those folks as well.
Absolutely. No, it's incredible the way that the show has developed in so many ways. But you also, as you said, you're following the technology, and it's very important for a trade association to keep reinventing itself and following these new trends and getting ahead of them as much as they can to help their members.
We've got to evolve. Absolutely, Trevor. We've got to evolve. And you'll see SEMI Semi does it proportionally. So, some of our, we've got the semicons around the world that are thousands and thousands of people. Like we're big. We're the biggest show in electronics when you add it all up. The CES is a big event in Las Vegas, but our events in Asia are all over 100,000 people come to them in a 3-day period now. So we're the biggest attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your event is
But
business.
then we also, we also have, things like where I'm today, where we've got a couple hundred people coming together focusing on materials. And we'll have future computing sessions at our corporate headquarters and cybersecurity events and, the host of things that are necessary to really evolve with the industry and focus on the most critical issues for today and also the future.
And that kind of leads really well into our last question, which was, if you had to summarize the dominant theme of SEMICON West 2026 in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say?
Again, our theme's very aligned, transforming tomorrow. So it's well recognized now around the world that semiconductors are at the heart of innovation and the advancement of mankind. And again, it's a very exciting time. The current estimate on data center capital and infrastructure is $7 trillion. That investment will happen between 2025 and 2030. So we're kind of on the front end of that investment now. To put that in perspective, the internet, which we've all become so dependent upon, was about $1 trillion investment. So again, our focus will be really on transforming tomorrow and providing a path forward through innovation on how semiconductors will enhance the human experience through AI and other technologies in medicine, in automotive, in a host of different applications where semiconductors continue to grow. I'm sorry, that was a little bit more than 2 sentences, Julian, but so there's a lot going on.
Yeah. There's just too much to pack in. Yeah, there's too much to pack in. Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. I really want to thank you for joining us and sharing your wealth of knowledge. And we wish you every success, of course, with SEMICON West when it comes around in October.
Thank you both. I look forward to seeing you on the show floor. Please come join us and make sure you say hi. Thank you.
Will do, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you like this broadcast, please take the time to like and subscribe on YouTube, and remember to share this newsletter with your friends.
You could watch or listen to this and our future podcasts on YouTube, LinkedIn, Meta, X, and of course, all your normal podcast locations like Apple Music and Spotify.